Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show I have a fellow Texan based out of the Austin area, electrician and solar installer, involved in a lot in that space, Gabe Lensing. Gabe, welcome to the show.
Great to be here.
I was briefly involved in the solar space in sales, door-to-door sales. That's a very tough job, but I have a lot of respect for the installers, because before we were hopping on, we were chatting about just how crucial installation is. But also I learned a little bit more about you before hopping on here. As a master electrician, you weren't always involved in solar. So how did you get into this space?
So, kind of a funny story. We got into the space on accident. Like, before we were really involved with the idea of solar, I was actually pretty adamant about the fact that, like, no, I'm not going to do it, which I'm learning more and more. Like, I should just stop saying that, because every time I've said that in business, I've followed up by doing the thing. But I went through, and one of our fellow business networking buddies has a solar array, and he had it installed by a contractor who got bought out by somebody else. And then the person that bought the original company out cut off their solar division. So he was calling their helpline and nothing was coming through because they just shut off the whole division. And so he came up to us and was like, "Can you come fix my thing? I have one microinverter down. Like, I don't think it's that difficult, but I just can't get a new one and I can't get it installed." And I was like, "Yeah, like, let me check it out." And so I went and got Enphase certified that week. I mean, it took, I like spent one night, stayed up from like 8 to midnight getting Enphase certified, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can do this. This should be pretty easy. And then got to take over his system and was like, man, like, I feel like there's a missing opportunity here where, like, the solar companies will go install it, but they won't maintenance it. So, like, you have an inverter go bad, you're just out of luck. So why don't we, like we should be able to harness that market. And then as I learned more about it, I've been a big fan of Span anyway for since we started the business. I was like, that's the newest, coolest panel. I want to be involved in the new cool stuff, because I'm a big old nerd, and so I may as well be on top of that. And Span integrates with solar and battery backup and that whole system. And so it's just kind of been a culmination of everything coming together to kind of direct us down that path. And then with it being Super Sun Electric, like, we're kind of already in that space. I mean, everybody asks if we're solar anyway, so it's been like the signs have been pointing that direction for a little while.
I want to ask you about building a business as an electrician in general. So before you got involved with solar, were you working for yourself? Were you working alongside someone? How did Super Sun Electrical come about? What was it like building a business?
Yeah, so I got to work for other contractors for about 7 years. So that's what you have to do if you want to master for your own company. There's different ways to do it. You can hire a master electrician if you want to just start an electrical company, but you need a master on file. I'm egotistical, and I wanted to be the master on file and be like, look, if I'm the master, they can't leave me for somebody else, right? Like, I'm not going to leave myself. And so I was like, that's the the most secure way to start your own company. It takes a little bit longer, but it's the most secure. And so after the 7 years, I got my master's last September, September 13th, and I went and gave a 6 month notice at the company that I was at because I was a manager at the time. I was like, I want to respect the owners for like taking this bet on me and like make sure that they're still sustainable even after I leave. So build that company up. That lasted about 2 weeks, and then they let me go to go chase my dream. And so me and my wife started the company, and how we got the name Super Sun Electric is in high school, I wrestled for about 14 or 15 years. So I wrestled even before I got into school. And my favorite move was the Superman. So you just kind of dive across and you look like Superman, you catch their head, and it's a cheap tilt. But it gets points and it works. And then my wife's nickname, we go to Sherwood Forest Fair, which is a local Renaissance fair. And her nickname out there is Sunshine. And so we went through and we're trying to figure out like, what's the best name for our company? And we went through all of the electrical puns of like, and they were all taken because there's plenty of electrical contractors out there, and we're late to the game on that aspect. And so all of the good puns were taken. We're like, man, we should figure out a different name. And then we just kind of meshed Superman and Sunshine together and came up with Super Sun. And we're like, you know what, that works really good. Let's do it. And then we had no intention of entering the solar space.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
I kind of thought about doing batteries here and there because I was like, I've heard they're good, like margins on it. There's pretty good revenue on it. Like, may as well play with that. But like otherwise, I don't really know. Like let's play with it if we can, but I don't know if we're actually going to get into that space. And then we just kind of jumped into the market and said, look, I'm an electrician. Tell me what you need. And we saw what worked, and we'd get some ceiling fan calls and some lighting calls and like troubleshooting calls and stuff like that. And then we really started finding our stride with EV chargers. We're like, okay, a lot of people need EV chargers. I know how to do them at a really high level. I do it really well. The margins are great. May as well just keep rolling with that. And as we did that, like that brought us into like, hey, we should really do batteries to be able to charge your car and your battery at the same time. And in a power outage, you're good. And then as we played with that, we were like, well, we should have something to help like extend that life. Let's play with the span panel too, and really start bringing that in. And now your battery lasts 40% longer. You have full visibility of everything. It works really well. And then we're like, well, now we may as well have something to power the power wall and like power that battery. So let's put solar in there. The span panel integrates with that, and everything works great. And they're coming out with some really cool stuff that I don't know that I'm allowed to talk about, so I'm just going to avoid talking about it right now. But they're coming out with some really cool stuff.
Great stuff. Yeah.
That's going to like make the install faster, cleaner, like super cool. And I'm really, really excited about it. It's supposed to come out sometime in 26.
Is Span, are they a manufacturer? I'm not familiar with. Are they a manufacturer within the solar energy space? And do they have a specific niche? Is it batteries?
So Span is actually like the newest, greatest electrical panel. So
okay,
they are kind of they're not like they're a manufacturer. They're an electrical panel manufacturer, but it's not for specifically solar or battery. They just meld well with them. But what they do is give you the full capabilities of your energy management system. So a lot of the times when you're adding an EV charger with the new heat pumps and all of the other electrification that's happening, you have to upgrade your service from a 200 to like a 400 or a 400 to a 600. With the Span panel, you don't, because it has actual energy management in there. So it'll load shed your EV charger for 5 minutes while your oven's running, and then it'll kick it back off. And like it actually manages your load. And so it's just the newest, greatest sequence of everything. So rather than like the standard 100-year-old panel, which has your breakers in it and looks the exact same as what it did 90 years ago with a little bit more space for me to wire stuff up. Like that's been the only changes. Like they've kind of added some more spaces for me to wire things up. And in other cases, they've made it more cramped. But like the technology in the panel hasn't really changed that much in the last 100 years.
I want to
Span completely revolutionized that.
I want to pivot, Gabe, and
Yeah.
ask you about building a business as an electrician, but also in the solar space. You hit on something at the top of the show, talking about, I didn't know that I was going to be in the solar space, but here we are. As someone who's been in the solar space on the sales side, and I mentioned just how important electricians are in this space. I'm curious, are there any electricians, or is this a thing that exists right now? I would imagine it is, where there's electricians who are also running sales organizations and they do everything in-house themselves so that they can really provide the quickest, fastest, and best service while also making more money.
Yeah. So there are, but it's few and far between. Like most of them aren't because like some of them like they've got a really good sales guy who can, sell ice to an Eskimo, but like they don't have the installers that can back that level of sales skill. So like they don't take the time to actually effectively train their guys. And so it's just one of those that like rather than investing the time to train these, they just hire somebody outside of it and they make a little bit less money, but they don't have to make the upward investment, which I'm a very big advocate of. Like I don't want to sub anything out.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
And we're going to start with subbing our solar out while we don't have a robust team, but we're going to start building that up. Like if we get proof of concept of like we can sell this and we're making money, it's a $50,000 array. Like why would I sub that out and only make eight when I could have the $50,000 in top line and do it at a 60% gross margin and like really keep the large amount of that money and then have a more robust team where I have full control over quality. And so it's just one of those that I think a lot of electricians are willing to like sacrifice that quality and the culture and like that relationship that they've built with their customers. And I'm just not. Like I really don't want to. I want to have all of that harnessed inside of my own ecosystem and then have the best trained technicians and have the best trained like customers and employees and like everybody to where it's all nice ecosystem where my customers understand I have full transparency. I know about a problem before my customer knows about a problem because most of the time on that, like you can get notifications when something is wrong with their system. And so rather than waiting for them to tell me about it, I call them and like, hey, by the way, your system has a problem. I've got a technician on the way to get that solved. Right. And like that's the world that I want to build to where like
And,
the customer service is so ridiculous that they don't know what to do with it.
and so you're already, it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're already involved in the sales side currently.
Yeah.
That's tremendous. And one of the things that I want to highlight, having done this myself, is it is complicated for the average person to understand kilowatt hours and understand how many panels you need to have on a roof, the grade of the panels, which way it's facing. And when I was learning this, and I hate to say this because I am a sales guy at heart, and I have a lot of uh, respect for guys who make a living in the sales space. And I think even with AI and all the advancements, people are still going to want to buy from people. But I remember thinking, like, this is so complicated where I do feel like I should be an electrician. And I'm sure that there'll be solar guys who will disagree with me vehemently on this. But I was thinking, like, I really want to know for a fact that this home that they just moved into, which currently doesn't have any appliances in it, that I'm providing them enough, you know, power effectively because they're going to get more appliances. So I can't just go off of last month's bill. And also, too, I know what I've been told and what I've been trained on, but I wish I knew more. So as someone who's an electrician going in and talking to homeowners, you're armed with so much more information coming from such a place of expertise. What are those conversations like, and do you kind of have the same sentiment where it's like, hey, this is actually a pretty high level, complex issue, like you're powering a home, converting solar energy. This is not, a conversation that just anyone can handle.
Yeah. So I actually usually don't even talk about the like kilowatt hours and everything like else like that because it's so high level that like unless you're an electrical engineer, you're probably not understanding it. And if you are an electrical engineer, I don't need to tell you about it. So like it's one of those that like it's a pointless conversation because 95% of people aren't going to understand it. So I usually equate it to like a bowl of water. And that's where I go with like you have this bowl of water when I'm talking about like service upgrades when I'm putting in an EV charger and I'm like you've got a bowl of water, it's got 2 gallons of water in there, and you've got a 125 amp service, and you want to take half of that water to charge your car, like, but you're already using 2/3 of that water to power your house, so like you can't do that. And like I think that people can visualize that better because like we know what a bowl of water looks like, but when I tell you, hey, you've got 125 amps, unless you're an electrician, you don't know what that is. Like
Yeah.
you don't know what that looks like, and it doesn't mean anything. And so it works the same way with kilowatt hours, or like people just don't understand what that means. And so actually like giving them a visual representation of like this is what it is, this is how much it pulls, and like your HVAC pulls this much, and like actually being able to break that down and make it more simple. And like, you've got this gallon of water.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
And that's what you use on a daily basis. And we want to give you 2 gallons of water to power your whole house so that as you add in your EV charger and as you add in your mini split and your air fryer, you actually have the ability to grow into that system. And then giving them battery to back it up.
What I want to point out, just hearing you talk about it, you mentioned a bowl of water. One of the things that, high level communicators and anybody who's good at sales will tell you sales is just communication and it's making a friend and it's helping them see value in what it is that you're doing. I would imagine one of the reasons why some master electricians may not want to get into the sales portion of it is because that's a different skill set. It's a different skill set to talk to someone about the value in solar for their home versus installation. It's two totally different things. And sure, if you're fixing electrical issues at someone's home, there may be some communication involved there. But as an electrician, I'm sure you see this. Most people are calling an electrician when there's already kind of a major issue. You're not typically calling an electrician when it's like, oh yeah, well, this is something that's like maybe 3 months from now we may need something. It's typically like, no, we lost power in this area of the house. We need an electrician out here. And so, I think the solar thing is a different game that you're playing in. I wanted to get a little bit granular, Gabe, and ask you because I was in the solar space, so I had familiarity with this. When people had a budget in mind, right, and they're saying, well, that's a lot for a solar bill, right? And they're saying, well, maybe I should do a little bit less and it'll cover like, let's call it 80% versus 100%. What's your perspective on that? Is it worth it to get more panels and maybe it's a higher monthly and you get 100% coverage, or should you say, well, it'll be 50 or 80% or whatever the percentage is, and that they'll just pay the rest through their local utility company?
Yeah. So I'm a firm believer, like if you're not going to get 100 and realistically like 125%, like if you're not going to max that out, it's not even worth buying solar because like the biggest complaint that I've heard is, yeah, I bought solar 5 years ago and now I've got a utility bill and a solar bill and like adding them up costed more than what my utility bill did. And so like you're not going to offset it. And then the utility bill, and I'm sure like it goes up like 3 to 5%, I think, every year. And so like now compared to 10 years from now, you're going to pay roughly 30% more if we don't compound it, right? So like 30 to 33% more on your bill. So like your $100 bill now is going to cost you $150 in 10 years, whereas your solar is going to cost you $250 and you're going to have it half paid off in 10 years. So like, why not just max that out? Have a little bit bigger bill, get the full battery system, but you own your electrical at that point. Like you are your own power grid, like max it all out.
Yeah.
And like maybe that's just me personally, and I'm a big fan of like go all in, max it out. Like if you're gonna do something, just do it. Um, but it's one of those that like I feel like there's so many solar companies that aren't electricians and don't understand like this is where this is gonna evolve to. That they're just like, I just want to get the sale and I don't care if it's like the best solution for the customer. I just want to sell it. And so like I want my, $5,000 commission on this $40,000 array rather than like, okay, let's go for broke here and like actually give them what they need. And either I'm going to get the sale and they're going to get what they need or I'm not, but they're not going to get what they don't need. And I feel like there's so many people who are in the middle of that where like they don't get either one of them. They're like, yeah, you got solar, but you didn't really get what you need, and I didn't even sell you batteries. And like,
Yeah.
I had several solar guys come out even before I was like running my own company, and I was like, can we get batteries? Like, I asked them, like, I was willing to pay them the money to get batteries, and like, oh, you don't need the batteries. That just makes the bill really expensive. And like, now that I've gotten more and more into this space, I was like, they're like, first of all, on a business aspect, that's just dumb. Like, you just lost out on $40,000 of revenue. And second of all, like, you're proposing a worse solution to your customer because you don't know how to sell it or you don't feel comfortable selling it. And so rather than giving them what they truly need, you're just half-assing it to make it work for you so that you can get the commission that you wanted. And
Yeah.
like, it's just, yeah, I've heard so many complaints that like, one of the things that we market to is like, hey, let's complete your solar install. Let's actually get you batteries. Let's actually get you a span panel. Like, let's get you this full system rather than the like 1/3 or halfway system that you have right now.
I can totally relate to this. I have a question, which I'm going to save for a minute here. But when I think about this difficulty, one of the things that I think about, I came from the automotive industry before I got into real estate. I'm an agent and a wholesaler now. But in automotive, one of the things that people would sometimes struggle with would be, well, how do you justify a used vehicle versus getting a new vehicle? And where's the value in the used vehicle? Well, the value in the used vehicle is pretty much the depreciation's been taken out of it. There's risk in that though as well. And then some people will say, well, yeah, but the new vehicles are like 3 times more expensive. Well, what's more important to them? Is it more important to them to have a hassle-free experience where they're going to be paying more for it? They're not going to have to worry about anything going wrong for 3 years and the powertrain for 5 to 7 years. And yeah, they're going to be paying twice as much, but also they're not going to have to worry about any maintenance, right? Versus they're getting something that is, a lot of road miles and things can start going out and there's zero coverage right away. So what's important to them? And what I found is the better that I got at communicating value and just more upfront that I was with it and with zero fear, the more that people would kind of self-filter. You'd have some people who would tell me, you know what, I'm willing to take the risk. If it breaks, it breaks. I'll take the used vehicle. And then you had some people who were like, I don't want to deal with that at all. It is really expensive, but I'm going to go with the new vehicle. And so given them that description, like, hey, battery, this is going to do boom, boom, boom. This is why you could benefit from this. It will add, but this is the benefit from it. And then let them decide. I do want to pivot here, Gabe, and ask you just about scaling a business in general in the solar space. You're an installer, you're doing the sales yourself. You mentioned you're subbing out for now, but also once you have proof of concept, looking at expanding. Are there businesses or you don't have to name names, but are there businesses that are doing this now? And how are you looking at the scaling process? Is there kind of like, a guide that you have to go off of in this space, or are you kind of a maverick in the solar and installation realm?
Yeah, since we just got into solar, like we're still in talks with the guy to get it subbed out. So we're still looking at selling it. Like we know what we want to do. We're still building the offer. We're making it happen. So like, I'm not saying by any means I know how to scale this, but like the vision that I have is like when I start to scale this, after I get proof of concept, really you can get, from what I've seen, 4 to 5 guys to build an array in a pretty decent amount of time. It might take 2 or 3 days, but you can get 4 or 5 guys up there to do it properly. So you can have your one residential wireman, a journeyman, and then 3 apprentices, and like teach them how to do it. Because that's the other part of it is like the reason that these companies are subbing it out is because they don't know how to train their guys. And, like,
Yeah.
they don't know how to build them up. And so I'm a big component in training. Like we have a weekly training meeting over technical, and then we have a weekly training meeting over sales. So every Monday we start with sales. Every Friday we start with technical. because they can absorb the technical throughout the weekend, and then it reinstalls that like conviction in them on Mondays to where they can go out and sell better. And like I can see where I didn't have an effective meeting and my sales are down a little bit. But really scaling it is just like finding the right system. And then like I'm a big Alex Hormozy fan of like imperfect action, right? So like even if it's not the right choice right now, you do the best you can with the information you have. And then as you learn more, you pivot, you make better like structures, you build that better system. But the only way you can learn that is really starting. And like me and my wife studied for a year on how to do business right and how to do it all. And then we got in there and like it's a totally different realm after you're like in the game and are actually playing it. And like it's harder and it's different. And like theory's fun, but reality is real.
Totally different.
And so like totally different. And when we started, we were just like your general service electrician, and I was pretty cheap when I started. And I was like, okay, cool. Like that's just like I don't need to be as expensive as the big guys because I'm just operating out of my living room, so it doesn't matter. And then I realized like, man, that's stupid. Like if they can sell it for that much, so can I. So there's just like I should just make twice as much money as what they do. Like I should just have a higher profit margin. Like I shouldn't sell it for any cheaper. And that's what we started doing. And now we're actually making money to where we can really grow and we can reinvest in the team. And that's what actually lets you scale.
And leaning into
versus,
you mentioned
exactly
being able to be continuity for them and versus many cases like a one-off situation. We are coming up on time here, Gabe. Where can folks go if they want to learn more about your business, to reach out to you, to get a hold of you? Where can folks go?
So we're on pretty much all the social medias. I mean, my wife runs all of it, but pretty much any of the social media, search Supercent Electric, or you can go on our website. We've got a bunch of resources on there. We've got a full dictionary of like the A to Z's of electrical work. So we define all of the terms that my technicians talk about, what you need to know on electrical. Like I said, we really try to educate. We've got several different resources on there for like Tesla power walls, span panels, just like that information, EV chargers and the benefits of like the wall connector versus an EMA 1450. So like that'd be the best place to do it. I'm on LinkedIn and I'm trying to grow my connections. So look me up and I'd love to connect to start building that. So
Gabe, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for coming on the show here today. Congrats on your success and to your continued success. Thanks for coming on, Gabe.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.